Hello, and welcome to another edition of Strategic Minds. I am Kimberly A. Ferguson, the host with you in mind, and we have an incredible lineup for today's show. Now, if you missed the last episode with Lisa Ascalise of Inventing A to Z, Melissa Jill of Alive with Melissa, and Gerard Kersey of That Suits You and PK's Pitch, you can check it out at strategicminds.tv. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Strategic Minds mailing list for updates and special offers. My first guest is a powerhouse for sure, Shartia Brantley. She's a business journalist and serves as co-host and correspondent for the Black enterprise show Women of Power TV. She recently served as the chief guest booker for Thomson Reuters at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, which entailed working with world leaders and CEOs. Previously, she served as a CNBC producer for nearly 7 years. She has had an incredible career, and she is just getting started. I met up with her in Manhattan for a quick chat. Check out what Shartia Brantley had to say. Hi, Shartia. Thank you so much for joining us today on Strategic Minds.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Kimberly. I appreciate it.
So let's get started. Tell me a little bit about Shartia Brantley.
Wow. Currently, I am co-host and correspondent for Women of Power TV. It's a show for women launched by Black Enterprise about a year ago, which airs on TV One. In addition to that, I'm also a business journalist. So I currently work at Reuters, Business Video, and Arise News.
Nice. So how did you get into this field?
Well, I went about it the long way, so to speak, but I think finally you do get to your destination in life where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So I actually started out in the business world, working at UPS and Accenture for a number of years, doing supply chain management and new product development. Had a life event when I turned 30 years old. I was at that point trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, what would be my contribution to this world, and lost my oldest sister suddenly to a heart attack 3 weeks after turning 30. Shook my world and my family's world and made me just prioritize what's important. And I quickly realized that the limited time we have here on this earth, we should spend it doing things we're passionate about. And so that led me on the journey to become a journalist. Always wanted to be one, but I let low self-esteem as a teen prevent me from being a journalist in undergraduate.
So tell me a little bit more about that journey. In particular, I know one of the areas that you focus on is finance. So how did you decide to go in that direction, and what really led you to that point?
Great question. Well, working as a business journalist is kind of like a perfect marriage for my interest in journalism. So I wanted to be a journalist since I was like 10 or 11 years old, but again, didn't have the confidence to pursue it. So I worked in business. So business journalism is like the perfect blend of, I still have my foot in the business world and interested in what goes on in corporate America with startups, but I'm also a journalist. So I still have that natural curiosity to let people know what's going on. So being a business journalist combines two of my favorite things, so to speak.
So on our show, we focus on personal development as well as professional development. So we have a number of entrepreneurs that are always watching and interested in what we're doing. So let's talk about entrepreneurship for a moment. I know you're an entrepreneur. How did you decide that you would start to work for yourself?
I'll be honest, I'm a reluctant entrepreneur initially because it's a lot of responsibility to step out on faith and start your own venture. So I admire entrepreneurs. I have a lot of respect for them. And I recall back in business school, I'll never forget a classmate of mine. His name was George. In business school, and he was like, I am going to have my own business. I will be CEO of my own enterprise. And I just sat there, and at the time I was much younger, and I was just satisfied with my goal was just climbing the corporate ladder and maybe being a chief financial officer or something in an organization, or a senior vice president. And it wasn't until about last year or so, in 2014, that I realized, you know, there's something to owning something and being responsible for your idea and seeing it through fruition, because a lot of times you can't depend on other people to realize your dreams for you.
Absolutely.
So if you have goals, and you have to keep in mind everyone else is trying to manage their own careers. And so when this opportunity came along for Women of Power TV, I couldn't give up the opportunity to provide positive content for women. We know how women are portrayed on television, especially women of color.
Absolutely.
And I just can pass out an opportunity to be a helper by sharing financial information to help people live better lives.
Wow. That is powerful.
But it's been a rocky road. Now, I will say this, the road of entrepreneurship is not paved smoothly. So it's been a year of a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And I've learned a lot about myself and about client selection and working with people.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because many times people think that it's easy, or sometimes we make it seem as if it's easy. So I'm glad that you made the point that sometimes it's not. So that leads me to my next question. How do you push through? How do you push through those obstacles or those days where you feel like it's just that challenging? How do you push through and say, I'm going to continue on?
Oh, very simple. You don't work, you don't eat. Very simple. And I figured that out very quickly. And I think you have to have a bigger purpose, I think, leading you. If you're not excited about what you're doing or passionate about what you're doing, and that's one thing I really admire about you. You're very passionate about what you do, and it comes through in everything that you do. So you got to have that extra bit of passion in you. So when clients don't return your phone call or clients take their time in paying you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah, when they take their time, they don't take their time to ask you to work, but they may take their time in paying you. So you need that extra, that reasoning. Why am I here? Why am I subjecting myself to this when I could work a 9-to-5 corporate gig?
For sure. So what is your advice? What would your advice be to that budding entrepreneur or that budding journalist? What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, passion.
Okay.
But you got to have a plan. And what I mean by that, when I decided to change careers to go from, at the time I was working for Accenture, traveling the country as a supply chain consultant. When I decided to go from that to journalism, I had to develop a plan. At first it was very overwhelming, like how can I go from being a consultant to a journalist? And I had to put together a plan of action. It's like, oh, you're a consultant, put together a plan of action. And so I had to determine, okay, how much money do I think I will need to make this transition? When should I put my house on the market? When should I notify my employer? What do I expect my new income to be? I should probably factor in for a pay cut, a salary cut severely initially. Can I weather that? How much am I willing to adjust my lifestyle? I may not be able to take those great trips abroad with my girlfriends for a period of time. And things like that you have to weigh. And it really makes you question and say to yourself, do I really want this? Because I have so many friends, so many people have said to me, I admire what you've done to change careers and to start over, but I couldn't do it. Some people don't want to sometimes make that financial sacrifice or that time sacrifice to either go back to school like I did. And many times to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to go back to school. I just felt for me, I had zero basis in journalism. My experience, I have an undergraduate degree in accounting, MBA in operations and logistics management. You don't hear the word journalist anymore. I didn't work on the school paper. I wasn't, working on a school paper or things like that, school TV station. So for me, I felt I needed an educational foundation. So you may have to ask yourself, do I need to go back to school? And the next question is full-time, part-time, online, what have you, executive program, what have you, to get to that next level. And sometimes it's all about just rolling up your sleeves and doing on-the-job training as well. So there's many ways to get to it. You just have to figure out the one that works best for you at that period of time in your life, that life stage that you're in.
Absolutely, and what powerful advice that is. And many times we don't think about those things, and people think, okay, we're just going to do it, as opposed to having that plan. And you gave the perfect checklist, or at least the beginning of that perfect checklist of things that we should be looking at if we're deciding to make such a transition. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Is there anything on the horizon horizon? What are some new things that are coming from you that people can be looking out for?
Well, it's all about brand elevation and taking things to the next level. So I'm working on some projects. I'll keep you posted on that. And we're also getting ready for the Women of Power Summit. It takes place in Hollywood, Florida. Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful event. It takes place March 9th through 12th in Hollywood, Florida. And we have some great speakers already lined up. So if you can attend, please do. It's a very, very uplifting summit. I had a great time last year.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for being a part. Are you doing anything at the summit, by the way? Are you?
Yes, I am moderating a personal finance panel. I did a panel last year with Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and they will sponsor it again this year. So we're very excited about that.
Great. Well, thank you again. You gave such powerful information, gave such great advice, and I just thank you for coming on and sharing with us today.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and this is a wonderful thing you're doing, so please continue to do it.
Thank you.
Didn't I tell you she was a powerhouse? Make sure you check out Shartia's segment, Power of the Purse, on Women of Power. For more information about Women of Power TV or the Women of Power Summit, visit blackenterprise.com. Also, make sure you are following Shartia on Twitter at Shartia Brantley. In our first episode, Gerard Kersey shared strategies on the power and value of networking, and I use those tips on the regular, and it's the use of those tips that allowed me to connect with our next guest. I met Lucas and Corine Marie Tindell via social media, Periscope to be exact, and they are amazing. Lucas and Corine Marie are authors, relationship trainers, and professional speakers. They are a power couple, and they recognize that their power comes from God. Their goal is to help couples and singles reach their full potential when it comes to having the happy, healthy relationship that they desire.
Hi, my name is Lucas.
And I'm Corine.
And we're here today to talk to you about 5 principles to have power in your relationship. So we're talking about 5 principles to have power in your relationship. My wife and I believe firmly that we are a power couple powered by God. And without God, we would not have the power to stay together. The most important thing you can do is to make sure God is the center of your relationship. It's like plugging in your cell phone at night. You don't go to bed without plugging your phone in because you're afraid that when you wake up in the morning, the battery will be dead. A lot of people in relationships have dead batteries because they haven't plugged into God.
The second principle is work and do not quit. You have to put work into your relationship. Think about your relationship as a house that you and your partner are building together. You're going to have to forgive when you don't feel like forgiving. You are going to have to choose to love your spouse when you don't feel like loving them. You might get tired, you might get frustrated, but you have to put in that work and you can never quit.
The next principle to have power in your relationship is the power of transparency. You see how it's even uncomfortable oftentimes for people to come close to you. It's not comfortable for people to look you in the eyes and talk to you because oftentimes when you look someone in the eyes, you're fearful that they're looking inside of you. And that maybe they're going to see something inside of you that's broken or something inside of you that's not complete. So we often fear transparency because we're afraid of what it might lead to. You have to be willing to look each other in the eyes and have real conversations. You have to be willing to be open and honest about who you are and how you feel in order to have a successful relationship.
Keep a level of privacy in your relationship. There was a point in our relationship where my husband would think it was okay for him to go back and tell his boys all the problems we were having in our relationship, thinking they were going to help him out. But it just turned into a woman bashing session. That wasn't none of their business. That's between us. Keep a level of privacy in your relationship. And does that mean that you can't go out and get help in your relationship? No. Me and Lucas, we had help in our relationship. But you cannot put your business on social media. Social media does not need to know and eat popcorn watching the entertainment of the problems in your relationship. So keep that level of privacy.
If you're trying to become a power couple powered by God, you need to know who you're going to allow into your inner circle. Who are you going to allow to be in your circle of influence? Who are the people that you trust? Who are the people that are okay by both people for you guys to talk to get the help and advice you need to have a successful relationship? As my wife said, if you tell everybody on social media, can't stand her, feeling irritated, he's not doing what he's supposed to, feeling upset. You're allowing them in to your circle of influence, and you're allowing their opinions to shape the power of your relationship. So early on, it's important for both of you to come together and decide who you're going to allow into your inner circle so that you know that you have the right kind of people in your circle of influence.
That was hot. Quick tips to take your relationship or relationship readiness to the next level. Connect with Lucas and Corine Marie at www.tindelltraining.com, on Facebook at Tindell Training, Twitter at Lucas Tindell, or Instagram at Love Corine Marie. So this episode would not be complete if we didn't focus on the total you. So I asked my husband, Dewey Ferguson III, to share tips on establishing a well-balanced lifestyle. Founder of the health coaching practice, Feed Your Gift, Dewey is a certified holistic health coach with more than 13 years of health and wellness experience. Here's what Dewey had to say.
Hi, my name is Dewey Ferguson, and I'm a certified holistic health coach and the owner of Feed Your Gift Health Coaching Services. Now, today what we're going to talk about is the whole theory. Now, the whole theory is a tool that I came up with to help my clients identify the areas in their life that need attention. That's my job, to uncover the root cause of the issues. Now, sometimes that's nutrition, stress, it could be exercise, but the goal is to uncover what needs attention. And today, the whole theory is going to help you do that. WHOLE is an acronym for whole foods, healing, open-minded optimism, love, and environment. Now, these are the 5 attributes that we're going to use to look at our lives and to tell whether or not we're living a whole life. Whole foods, what are they? Whole foods are unprocessed foods. They are your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your nuts, your seeds. They are unprocessed. Processed foods are potato chips, breads, anything that man has created. Those are processed foods. Why are we using whole foods? Whole foods are going to help our bodies to do what they were created to do, and that is to heal itself. Whole foods are nutritionally dense. They have your minerals and they have your fiber, the vitamins, all the things that you need for your body to function effectively. So you incorporate whole foods in your diet, and that is your foundation, okay? The foundation to better sleep, energy, better skin, etc. You want to incorporate whole foods in your diet. The next thing is healing. Now, when we're talking about healing, we're talking more in terms of recovery. We all need to take periods of our day to recover. We have stressful jobs, right? We have stressful kids. Take some time out, recover. Find out what is healing to you. For me, it's yoga, it's exercise, it's music. I love those things. They soothe me, they calm me down, and we all need to look at our lives and find out what is healing to help you recover. And if you do that throughout your day, you will find that you will be more effective when you go back to doing those tasks. The third thing is open-minded optimism. Now, what does that mean? That means first thing we're going to do when I meet with my clients, we develop a plan, but they have to be open to receive it. If I give them things to do and they're not open to it, look, it's not going to be effective. And then the second thing is those suggestions that I give, they have to be optimistic that they're going to work. Because truth be told, some of them take time. You didn't get in this predicament in a day, so it's going to take more than a day to get out of it, to develop those good habits. So you have to be open-minded to the changes, and then you have to be optimistic, be positive about what's about to take place. The fourth thing is love. What does love have to do with it? Love is everything. Even the Bible says of all these three, faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these three is love. Love is patient. Love is kind, okay? Love yourself enough to not beat yourself up about the past, about what happened, about how you got in the situation that you're in. That is not important. What is important is that you are willing to change now and you can affect the future. So love yourself enough to not beat yourself up and to strive forward with your plan. And second, surround yourself with positive people. Do not have people around you that do not want you to succeed. You want those people to help you and motivate you and help you strive towards that goal and not bring you down. Okay? Love is everything. And the fifth thing is your environment. Do your very best to control your environment. Your environment is wherever you are. It's your job. It's your home. It's when you go out with your friends. That is your environment. If you're going out with your friends and you're going out with the friends that love to eat all of the bad stuff and are going to try to get you to try every single thing that comes to the table, that is probably not the best idea right now while you're making changes because you're not strong enough to resist yet. Surround yourself with the people that are going to say, you know what, look, you shouldn't have that. You should have this instead. And those are the people that you want to be around, at least until you get strong enough to deal with the pressures that come along with being in those wrong type of environments. So of all these things, make sure that you're incorporating them, make sure that you're using them, and they will help you live a whole life. Thank you very much. I'm Dewey Ferguson, and remember, feed your gift by loving your whole life.
Now, those were great tips to help us live a whole life. For more information about Dewey Ferguson III, Feed Your Gift, or the Whole Theory, visit feedyourgift.com. Well, that's just about it for the February edition of Strategic Minds. But before we go, I want to give you a sneak peek into the next episode. In March, relationship expert, coach, and author Cheyenne Bostock will be joining us, along with PR professional Gia Marone. So stay connected. You don't want to miss the strategies discussed in the next episode. And remember, we're always looking for new segments for the show. So if you are someone who is empowering, someone who has an amazing backstory and can teach new tips and techniques, we want to hear from you. Visit strategicminds.tv to learn how you can possibly be on the show. Well, thank you for watching. Again, I am Kimberly A. Ferguson, the host with You in Mind. You can follow me at KFergSpeaks across just about every social media platform. I know I had a blast, and I hope you did too. And in all you do, be strategic.